Good morning. Welcome to Facebook Yoga with Emily. I'm pretty much being sponsored by Tahoma Athletic Club, so I would appreciate if you enjoy this flow. If you would like or comment it, that'll make it easier to post to the Tahoma Athletic Club site. Thank you for joining me for these at-home practices. Right now I'm in my master bedroom. Life has changed for all of us because of the health concerns that are out there right now. But I want you to take this time to just explore your body, explore your breath, forget about any concerns of the future or the past, and just be in the here and now. This is an opportunity that you have to nurture yourself. All right, let's start out just gently sitting up tall, opening up through the chest. Rest your hands on your knees, and we're going to just gently stretch the head over towards the right, kind of like you're listening to your shoulder. And now over to the other side. Back to center, and just gently look down at your right hand. We're just stretching through the back and side of the neck here. Coming back up, I'm going to stretch through the other side, so kind of exaggerated looking at the other hand. Bringing my chin to my chest. All right, come back up to center, and you're going to give yourself a big hug. So open your arms wide and cross them over, grabbing opposite shoulder with opposite hand, and just allow your chin to fall to your chest. Deep breaths. And now open up, and you're going to grab one hand with the other. I'll move back so you can see me. You're just going to reach up and stretch, grabbing a hold of that wrist and just stretching through the body a little deeper. And let's do the other side now. Oh, this feels so nice. And opening up a little bit more through the chest area, we tend to kind of sit more hunched. So I want to try to open up this area here. Walk your hands behind you, and you're going to have your fingertips towards your body. And just lift up through the chest and tuck your chin. Now we're going to open up a little bit through the inner thigh. You won't be able to probably see my whole body here. I'll scoot back a little bit. You're going to bring your right leg out and the left foot into the groin. And reach your right arm to the outside of the leg, and we're going to stretch up and over towards that leg. And now turning towards that foot, we're going to reach towards the foot, leaning forward. And now let's get the other side. Switch legs. And first reaching the arm up and over by the ear, And then stretching across and down. I'm going to scooch so you can still see my face. Coming back up. And now reaching towards that foot. You're going to lean. And you don't have to push this. Your body will open up when it's ready. Just give it time. Developing good flexibility is a great way to enhance your mobility. All right, coming back up to center. Let's open up a little bit more through the hips. So bringing your feet in front of you, we're going to open the knees like a book and then just lean forward, opening through the hips. I'm using my elbows to push those legs open a little deeper. And I know one thing that's really changed for me through all this is I really kept myself super busy, always doing things. And now sometimes I have to just kind of be with myself and not have something to do. And that can be challenging because it's easy to hide anxiety and constantly moving and constantly doing. But when you have to be still, you have to think about what the purpose of your life really is and what you really want to accomplish, and that can be scary. All right, let's close our knees. I'm going to bring my feet about hips width distance, and I'm going to come into a forward fold. So gently standing up, and then stretch those legs behind you. I can reach down pretty far, but it's okay if you're higher up here or have your hands on your shins. I like to sway here without bouncing. This allows me to just explore this pose a little deeper and open up in different ways. All right, stopping in the middle. I'm going to bring my palms opposite here and just kind of stretch out through the wrists. And release, just coming into a regular forward fold. Nodding my head yes. Turning from one side of the room to the other. Just releasing any tension. I tend to really carry a lot of tension here in my neck and upper back. All right, bending the knees. I'm gonna come back to my mat so you can see me and circle sweep all the way up. And then bring my hands to heart center. I'm not sure if you can still see me. Just a second. There we go. Now I can tell you can see me. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, bow down, forward fold. Inhale, look up. Exhale, release. Inhale all the way up. And exhale your hands to heart center. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Inhale all the way up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Let's stretch out through that wrist again. I'm going to bring my legs a little bit wider. So grab a hold of one of your wrists And we're going to stretch up and over using the other arm to help here. All right, and let's take the other wrist and do the same thing on the other side. And come back to center, hands to heart center. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bow down. And then from here, if you're at the front of the mat, you're going to walk your feet back. I'm at the back, so I'm going to walk my hands forward, coming into downward facing dog. Just gently pressing my heart towards the mat, lifting up my hip bones. And I'm going to walk out my dog here, pedaling my legs. Just using my breath and exploring this pose. And it doesn't matter that I've been in downward dog 100 times. I've never been in this downward dog. I'm just exploring where my body's at today and how it feels. All right, bend your knees, inhale, look to the front of your mat, and you're gonna gently tiptoe up. I'm not gonna come all the way to the front. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, bow down, leading with your heart. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, look up. And now coming back into downward facing dog, walking forward and stepping back, coming into that pose. I'm gonna do a different kind of downward facing dog. Now taking your left hand, this will be my right hand, but if you're marrying me, it'll be your left. You're gonna take this hand and reach back towards the right foot. This is kind of a revolved downward dog. Just reaching for that foot and creating a twist here. All right, let's come back into downward dog and we're just gonna walk it out, pedaling the legs. Now I'm gonna try a revolve downward dog on the other side. So just taking this other hand and reaching towards the opposite foot. And release, let's come forward to plank. Press forward, you can drop your knees here. I'm gonna hold this for a few breaths, 3 breaths. Now I'm going to slowly lower down halfway and hold it here. And then release, lifting up, low cobra. Bringing those hips all the way down and now stretching through the body, looking up. And now let's press up and back, coming back to downward facing dog. And I'm going to walk it out again, pedaling my feet here. I'm going to try that revolved downward dog again. So taking this hand and reaching across to the opposite leg. And release, come forward. Coming back into downward facing dog. And now taking the other hand, reaching it forward, and then just reaching back for the opposite foot. And coming back to center, I'm going to inhale, rock forward to plank, holding my plank here. You can drop your knees here if this is a little bit too intense. And then I'm going to lower down halfway. Drop my knees, drop my belly, untuck my toes, and lift up. Cobra. And make your way up and back. Downward facing dog. Okay, I'm going to walk my hands to the back of my mat now. Walk, walk, walk. And I'm in a forward fold. A few more sun salutations. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Now with that inverted dog, we put a lot of pressure on our shoulders. Let's stretch up and out. So grabbing a hold of the right wrist with the left hand, stretch up and over. And other side, stretch up and over. Oh, that feels so good. And now reaching your hands behind you, interlace your hands and open through the chest. I like to explore these stretches by moving around. And now release, shake those hands out. Inhale, circle, sweep up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, bow all the way down. Now I'm going to walk forward. First I'm going to do a halfway lift, or Urdhva Hastasana. And now bend the knees, walk the hands forward. Coming forward into a plank. This is one of the best all-around exercises for your body, is a plank. That's why it's so challenging. Okay, gently lowering halfway and holding. And now I'm going to lower my hips, my belly, untuck my toes, and lift up. Low cobra. And again, up and back. Downward facing dog. Let's come into some warrior poses from here. So first I'm going to lift one leg up. So float your right leg up, lift it up in the air. Coming into a three-legged dog. And then you're going to bend that knee and step all the way up to the right thumb. Back foot's going to come down, and I'm going to make my way into warrior one. So sweep up, arms up. Coming into warrior one. Pull that belly in, bring those shoulders down. Pinkies are facing one another. That helps bring the shoulders down. Just holding this pose. Coming a little deeper. And now I'm going to come into a pose called Sky Archer, which isn't really very different from warrior one. It's just more of a stretch. So I'm going to grab a hold of this right wrist and reach up and stretch up deeper into this pose. All right, now release. So I'm going to bring my hands all the way down and flip the back heel up and peel up into a twist. Looking up towards my hand. And And release that hand down. I'm gonna drop the back knee and come into a lunge here, a low lunge. Right now I'm gonna come up and tuck my tail a little bit. I wanna stretch out through the front of the hip here. So just keeping my hands on this front leg. I'm just gonna lean forward a little bit while tucking my tail, tucking my pelvis under. Now I'm going to come a little deeper into the hip here. Bringing the hands down, I'm going to scooch this back leg down and open up deeper through the hip. Eventually we're going to make our way into some version of the splits, depending on how far down you're able to go. Right now we're just going to open through those hips. We tend to store a lot of emotion in the hips, and working them like this, stretching them out, showing them attention, allows us to let go of that emotion. Just let it float away. All right, I'm going to curl the back toe under and come back into a crescent lunge, lifting up, so back heel's lifted, and I'm in a lunge again. And this works my legs in a little bit different of a way than Warrior One. And just holding this is work for me. All right, I'm gonna come all the way down, step back, rock forward, lower halfway, holding, and now lift up to low cobra and make my way up and back for downward facing dog. Let's do the other side. Inhale, lift the other leg up. And you're gonna exhale, step it or help it all the way to the front of your mat, bringing the back foot down. Inhale up. I'm gonna adjust here so you can still see my face. Bring those shoulders down. Nice wide stance here. And practicing these lunges works the whole body. You're working the core to stabilize and balance. You're working the legs and the rear and the hips. All right, now coming into Sky Archer, you're gonna grab the other wrist and just reach up, stretch up as you bend a little deeper. Whoops, and now release. Bring your hands down. Lifting the back heel up, we're gonna twist open. And release down, drop the back knee and tuck the back toe, and we're gonna come up here and open up through the other hip. So tucking this tail down, we wanna feel this in the front of the hip here. We're just gonna gently kind of bend forward, stretching out this hip flexor muscle. All right, now I'm going to come a little further forward. I'm releasing that tuck in the tail, and I'm just gently stretching through the front of the hip here. coming into like a runner's lunge. My knee is still back on the mat. Let's take a little flow here. So curl the back toe under, lift the back knee up. We're gonna step back, rock forward, lower, and lift, and press up and back. Let's step forward with this leg again. And I'm gonna come into a crescent lunge again. So back heel is lifted, belly is in, arms are up, shoulders are down, and you're breathing. And sweep down, step back, rock forward to plank, and this time we're gonna work on side plank. So taking, sorry about that, my phone fell down. All right, so taking your left hand to the middle of the mat, let's open up to the right first. So heels over towards the side, and you're gonna lift up. You can drop your bottom knee if you need more support here. I know this is a lot of work. You can take a break if you need to, or drop that knee. All right, let's release and come to the middle, twisting those hips back to center, coming to a plank. And now side plank on the other side. Bring the heels over to the right and peel up. Keep breathing. Don't hold your breath during these difficult poses. You need your breath now more than ever. All right, that was a lot of work. Let's take a little break. Bring those knees nice and wide and press back to child's pose. All right, let's come back into our sky archer pose. So come forward, curl the toes under, lift the knees up and press back to come into downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg up, exhale, step it through. Back foot comes down. We're coming into warrior one first. So back foot's at an angle, front knee is bent. And your hips are facing the front of the room. Okay, now we're gonna take this a little deeper. I'll come back so you can see me a little bit. You're gonna grab a hold of the wrist of your right arm with your left hand and reach up and stretch as you come a little deeper into the lunge. And now release. Bring your hands to the outside of that front foot. And you're gonna peel open into a dragonfly twist. Release that hand down, drop that back knee, and you're gonna come into a lunge here, lifting up, tucking the tail, and stretching out through the front of the hip. let's come and stretch it a little differently, coming all the way forward, coming into a lunge here. Opening up through the front of the hip. Now from here, I'm going to curl the back foot under and make my way into a crescent lunge. So lifting up the back knee and sweep those arms up, coming into a crescent lunge. Sweep down, and we're going to come into downward facing dog from here. So step all the way back and come into downward facing dog. And let's try that revolved downward dog again. So taking your left hand to the right foot, reaching towards that. And coming back to downward facing dog, let's try the other side. And release, rock forward, coming to plank. From plank, come halfway down, drop your belly, drop your knees, untuck your toes, inhale, lift up. That feels good. And come up and back, downward facing dog. Now for our warrior poses on the other side, inhale the other leg up. Exhale, step it through or help it through and make your way up to warrior one. I'm going to dance back a little bit. I do have a tripod on order, so hopefully this will be a little more professional. All right, now grab this left hand with the right hand, kind of creating like a bracelet. And you're going to reach up and stretch up into sky archer pose. And release down. Shift the hips a little bit and you're going to peel your arm up. And release down, drop the back knee and tuck the back toe. And again, opening up through the hips. Tuck that tail and we're going to stretch out through the hip flexor here. This is an especially important area to stretch if you run or walk a lot. And a lot of times, traditional crunches can shorten this muscle. So if you work through the belly, you always want to stretch out the hip here so you don't get a shortened muscle here. That'll cause kind of a round, muscly belly, which is not usually what we're going for. All right, coming deeper into the stretch, opening up through the hips here. And I'm going to come into my crescent lunge now, curling the back toe under, lifting the back knee up and sweeping up. Oops, I almost lost my balance there. Shoulders down. And let's take our flow here. Exhale down, step back, rock forward, lower halfway down, and now drop the knees, drop the hips, and lift up, untucking the toes. Low cobra. And release down, curl the toes under, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Let's practice our plank and side plank again. These are great all over body exercises. Okay, inhale, rock forward, really pull that belly in. That's going to protect the low back. And feel free to drop the knees if you need to. Okay, we're going to open up to the right side first. So bringing the left hand to the middle And the heels over to the left, you're gonna peel up. You can drop this bottom leg if you need more support. Keep going. Hold strong here. All right, let's go to the other side now. Coming back to center, walking back into that plank pose. We're gonna get the other side now. So peel open to the other side. And planks and side planks are one of the best ways to train your core to do what it's designed to do, which is to stabilize your body. A lot of times we do a lot of flexion with crunches to strengthen the body, but one of the best ways is through balance. All right, let's come back to center and we're gonna drop both knees, bring them nice and wide, toes to touch, and press back into child's pose. I think we have time. I'm just gonna check really quick because I haven't been watching the clock. I think we have time to do our Sky Archer one more time on each side. And then we can come really deeply open through the hips. So I'm gonna go ahead and make my way into Sky Archer pose again, coming from downward dog. And inhale, float that right leg up. Exhale, step it through. Back foot comes down, making your way into warrior one. I'm gonna hop back so you can, whoops. Sorry about that. Let me set this up again. My camera lost its balance. Okay, so coming back into warrior one. Now I'm gonna come into my Sky Archer pose, making a little bracelet with my hand, and stretching up and coming deeper into the lunge, Sky Archer. And now come down into a low lunge here. Peel, oops, oh goodness sakes. I'm gonna have to, sorry, I'm gonna keep this on the ground here and hope that that works. Okay, peel up. And release down, drop the back knee, and we're gonna come up and stretch one more time through the hip flexor, tucking the tail. And now from here, I'm gonna come back a little bit, stretching out the front of the leg and stretch out through the back of that hamstring. And now bending forward, I'm gonna gently ease down as far as I can get to into the splits. If you know you're not gonna get out of this, then just stay up here in a lunge and just open up through the hips. But I'm gonna ease down, coming almost all the way down. Not quite there yet. And this is the challenging part, to try to relax into something that's really intense. Now I'm not feeling pain, but I'm feeling a lot of intensity here. The first thing I want to do is run. And this is where I'm going to use my breath. Use it to help me to relax into something that's uncomfortable. That helps me in life. when I'm dealing with stress and I want to run and hide or find something to comfort me, I can return to my breath and use that to center me and help me to calm down and make good decisions. All right, I'm going to gently make my way out of this. And this front leg, I'm going to bring it towards my body. And I'm going to come into a pigeon pose here. So bending the front knee. Back leg is long, and I'm going to gently come down into pigeon pose. And pigeon pose feels really good for me, but if you have tight hips, it can feel really intense, like coming into the splits. See if you can use your breath, and with each exhale, see if you can just relax a little bit more and trust your body rather than fighting this stretch. All right, let's make our way out of pigeon pose. So I'm going to curl the back toe under and then lift this leg all the way up. And then a counter stretch is just to bring the foot towards the rear. And now I'm going to step forward, make my way into a crescent lunge. And sweep down, step back. I'm going to take a flow here. Rock forward, hold, lower halfway down, and then lower all the way down. Untuck the toes, inhale, lift up, and make your way up and back. Downward facing dog. Inhale the other leg up. Exhale, step it through. Back foot comes down, making your way into warrior one. And now coming into sky archer, create that little bracelet with your hand and stretch up, coming deeper into the lunge. And release down. Shift the hips a little bit, and we're going to peel up into that dragonfly twist. And my temptation is always to hyperextend. You'll see me do that sometimes. We want to open up so the fingers are towards the ceiling, not towards the side of the room. And now release down, opening up through the hips now. Making your way into that kneeling lunge, tucking the tail just a little bit, and leaning forward to get a stretch through the hip flexor. And just being aware of your body and your limitations. Don't force a stretch. If you do, you might end up injuring muscle or ligament. You want to feel that intensity, but you don't ever want to feel pain. All right, coming down a little deeper now. I'm going to ease into this. And I'm going to make my way into Hanuman, which is the splits. Or as close as I can get into it. So I'm not quite all the way there. Probably because I haven't been diligent with this stretch. But just gently coming into it. It doesn't really matter how deeply you come into a stretch. The whole point of this is to create that intense experience for you. And I'm kind of swaying a little bit here to open up. We're creating this intense encounter with our body in order to develop a deeper relationship with our emotions, our body, and our spirituality. It's not about creating a pose. It's about understanding ourselves through that pose and through breath. All right, now I'm going to release out of this, and I'm going to just kind of gently move over to my side and then bend this front leg to come into pigeon pose. And coming up so that you're not collapsed on one side, you want your hips nice and square here. Foot is towards your body, knees towards the outside of the mat. Back leg is long, and I'm just going to gently come into this stretch. Using my breath through the intensity to see if I can let go and just release when I'm feeling challenged. Now gently coming up, I'm going to move into that counter stretch. Bringing my hands to the mat, curling the back to under, and lifting this leg all the way up and bending the knee, stacking the hips. And extend up and release all the way down. And now I'm going to come onto my back, and I'm going to move you over here next to me. And I come into Shavasana now, final resting pose. So for me, I like to have my arms out to my sides, palms up, and just allow my feet to fall over to each side. And the tougher it is for you to relax, the more I want you to try to take this time and just be still. Learning to be still is a wonderful way to help ease anxiety, because a lot of times we feel as if we don't have any purpose unless we're constantly moving and doing. I want you to take this time just to be, and just explore what that's like for you. And it may be peaceful or it may be uncomfortable, but just notice and then use your breath rather than running away from it. Now I'm going to walk my legs a little bit up, and I'll show you my legs here. And I'm just going to, see if I can show you my legs. Okay, and I'm just going to I'll show them from here. I'm going to windshield wiper my legs back and forth here. My knees are bent, and I'm just shifting my hips from side to side here. Now I'm going to fall over onto my side. And just rest here for a moment. And now to finish up our practice, let's come into a seated position. I'm going to put you right here. Come into a seated position, resting your hands on your knees, opening up through the chest, lifting through the crown of the head. Let's do one last stretch. So stretching out one side of the body, just like we did at the beginning. And now other side, stretching up and over. And now bring the hands to heart center in Anjali Mudra. Thank you for joining me in this practice. Namaste. Have a wonderful day, and don't forget to like or comment if you enjoy this practice. Thank you.